One of the things that has come up a lot for myself anyway, and in conversation I guess too, is the subconscious and the conscious mind. Subconscious being the area of mind that we aren't aware of, basically, and the conscious mind being the aware mind. The part of us that we are aware, and we are aware of these particular conscious thoughts and these conscious emotions that come up, and the unconscious or the subconscious, really the same terms, are these things that are seemingly hidden within us, and they've been there for many, many years in many situations. But the subconscious has the role of keeping us alive in many respects. It keeps the heart beating. That's the job of the subconscious. It allows us to breathe. Something that's simple, but that important for us is the continuing of breathing. Thankfully, we don't have to think about every breath, and otherwise we'd get distracted and go, oh, I almost died there. I was distracted for a while. Sorry, the crazy things like that. But we just breathe normally. And in fact, all of our organs function that way. The liver, the kidney, everything is just operating, And from a Freudian term, we say that's the subconscious mind that is running all of that. And actually the picture of the iceberg, everybody's probably seen that, where there's just a tip of the iceberg, and that's the representation of the conscious mind. And then the big piece of the iceberg underneath the water, the piece that actually sank the Titanic, I guess. That big piece, which is like maybe 80% of the iceberg, is unseen. And that is actually a Freudian example, or a Freudian pardon me? Analogy, yeah. It's a tool that Freud used, Sigmund Freud, in explaining what the subconscious was. And he later dropped the word subconscious in favor of unconscious because of his work with dreams that he was doing. But I always preferred the term subconscious, because unconscious, it confuses people with basically getting hit on the head and getting knocked unconscious, And so we're really talking about an area of the mind that is operating all the time, but under the covers, so to speak. The subconscious would be like backstage, if this was a stage, backstage, where the audience can't see what's going on, and there's lots of activity back there, and very crucial, everything that goes on backstage. And then the stage itself would be the things that we're aware of. And the reason I'm talking about this is because the area of thoughts is very interesting when it comes to the subconscious and the conscious, and the area of meditation. And thoughts is funny. The thinking process is a series of thoughts, one connected after another, after another, after another. And I like to use the model of the paper chains that we made in school. At least I did anyway, where you cut strips of paper and you paste them together and you put them all, you make these long chains, paper chains, and then your teacher hangs them up on the wall or whatever, And that's each individual link would be like a thought, and then when we put these together, that's the thinking process. And the thing is that some of that is conscious and some of it is subconscious. We often refer to it as that voice in our head. And we often think, what is that voice? I think we kind of referred to this last week, actually. What is that voice that we're hearing? And a lot of times the answer is, I don't know. It sounds like me. Matter of fact, I remember now that we did talk about this last week, because I was talking about bilingual people. If you remember, the people that speak a lot of different languages, that English isn't their primary language, and I'll ask them, what language do you think in, and they have to think about it. Well, I guess I do think in Swahili or something. But it's interesting, the idea of thoughts, because in meditation we get distracted, and it's just a normal thing that happens. A meditation teacher or instructor will say, or something that you read will say that, pay attention, be aware of what is happening within the mind. And in the practice of vipassana, or mindfulness practice, we want to be keenly aware of what is happening. And in that awareness, we come into the present moment. We can be aware of the breath, we can be aware of our thoughts, we can be aware of body sensations. Anything to do with the body is a very good tool when it comes to meditation. We can be aware of our thoughts and label these thoughts, and that's another type of practice. But typically we don't. I'm going to silence you, Autumn, if you. Okay, and and the idea behind watching our thoughts is to come into this presence. Now, the thoughts that we watch are the ones that we're aware of. There's lots of thoughts that we are not aware of, and these are said to be more closely related to the ego. The thoughts of things that could kind of, I guess I can honestly say that they could be harmful to us. The person that tells themselves repeatedly how stupid they are, in the mind, not out loud, maybe, and sometimes out loud, talking to themselves, they'll say, "Oh, I'm so stupid, I forgot to do this, or I forgot to do that." And without being aware of that, they're actually feeding themselves some pretty important information that they probably shouldn't be revealing or reminding themselves about how stupid they are. Because this is the subconscious talking, and who picks up on that, which is the conscious mind does. And after a while, we start believing that story. We actually feed ourselves a story. It's very similar to the American Indian story about the two wolves. One wolf is, in the Indian story, is generally told that one wolf is kind and considerate, and the other wolf is rude and mean and difficult to get along with. And this is an elder talking to the young Indian boy, explaining these two wolves, and telling the Indian boy that we have both of these wolves inside of us, and they're fighting each other all the time, the good one and the bad one. And then the Indian boy says to the elder, he says, which wolf wins? And he said, whichever one you feed. And so the practice in that wolf story is that we wake up in the morning, or we could do it in meditation too, but in most of the stories, the way they're told is every morning we wake up and we tell ourselves, am I going to be friendly today? Am I going to help people? Am I going to be moral? Or am I going to be this other wolf? Am I going to feed this other wolf, where I'm going to do anything I can to get my way? Am I going to treat people unkind, and so on and so forth? So in the area of thoughts, the subconscious, we could say, or the unconscious thoughts, the ones that we are unaware of, are the ones that can be damaging to us because they're constantly feeding us. They're feeding us this information. And so we want to be really careful. And the conscious thoughts are the ones that actually can help us get along in life. It's not necessarily that one is bad or one is good or one is evil all the time. I wouldn't want to classify, the subconscious as evil and the conscious thoughts as good, but we want to be aware of these things. And the conscious thoughts we are aware of. We don't necessarily remember them for a long time, because in order for something to be placed in our long-term memory, it has to have emotion behind it. And you can check this out for yourself. Check out a long-term memory, and there is emotion behind it. That's why it's in that category of being remembered. But what we want to do is be aware of our thoughts, period. We want to be aware of our subconscious thoughts. And that's where meditation can come into play. To be mindful of everything, including our thoughts. And how do we do that? One of the ways is to recall, go back into it. And the meditation that we'll be doing here, we've done it before. I don't know if we've ever done it. I don't actually remember doing it in this room. We've been here for a couple of years now. So maybe it's been a couple of years since we've done it. I think the last time we did it on one of our retreats in Payson. And it's a meditation where the bell rings, one ring every 2 minutes. And so if it's a 30-minute meditation, the bell will ring, it'll ring 60, or it'll ring 15 times. Yeah, I almost doubled it, but we want to divide it. So the bell will ring 15 times. And generally the ringing of the bell means that we're just kind of checking in. In this case, we're going to be checking in, certainly, but we're going to be checking into our thoughts and the thoughts that we've had within the last 2 minutes. And we're going to kind of trigger our conscious thinking to take a look at the subconscious thoughts that have come up for us and see if we can kind of go back into them and kind of review them. And this meditation has a specific name. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it, but it's. If anybody uses Insight Timer, Insight Timer is a free app that millions of people use on their phone for meditation throughout the world. And on Insight Timer, you can actually adjust the app so that it will ring every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, or every 4 minutes. Interval. Yeah, interval meditation. Yeah, interval meditation. And actually, Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Vietnamese monk, used to teach this technique. I don't want to give you the idea that thoughts are bad or nasty or we shouldn't have any, because they certainly help us out in life. But if we can find the switch, so to speak, in our meditation practice to turn the switch, to turn the thoughts off in such a way that they don't get in our way of our meditation practice, then we'll be doing ourselves a real favor. And if we can do that in our meditation practice, then we can do that in our everyday life too. We're not trying to hide anything or trying to bury anything. We're just trying to be okay, with it. And that is our peace of mind. That is really a part of our true nature. It's something that we can all share and all have, is this peace of mind. And it's not being pulled and burdened by the thoughts if we choose not to. It's like using thoughts as an option, rather than being bombarded by them and being annoyed by them, and that kind of thing. For the most part, thoughts are a wonderful, wonderful tool, but they can get us into trouble. How's it going there?
It's confusing. I think I have it now.
Okay, but if not, I can do it manually. I just watch the clock. The next step, when we watch the thoughts and able to control the thoughts without tying the mind down, so to speak, tying the thinking mind down to the table and say stop. That's not what we're trying to do. But if we can control our thoughts, then we can, in a good way, then we can next take a look at our emotions. And if we can live a life where our emotions are understood and again, not silenced, but understood in such a way that they can be used to our advantage to make our world and our life better, and in other words, to see our emotions as use them as tools to better our lives, then we're really getting someplace. We're really heading towards the awakened life. Okay, so this will be it's all set. It's going to be a half-hour meditation. So there's going to be 15 bells, and this is an interval meditation. And again, I'm not going to be doing any guiding like I normally would. I could, but there's no reason to do it. So I'm just going to give some brief instructions here in case some of you are brand new or newer to meditation. The main thing is that you want to be very comfortable. You want to keep your back fairly straight. Sometimes I have to remind myself to lift my chin a little bit because I have a tendency to kind of do this. So I know a lot of people do, but not everybody. So you can, comfort means that you can sit in a chair, of course, or sit, I've had really wonderful teachers that I never saw them sit on a cushion or cross their legs. And I've had other teachers that could sit full lotus, that's half lotus. They could sit in full lotus for 24 hours and they would be fine. So, and everything in between. So comfort is just what it means for you. And typically we would find a meditation object to focus on, and in focusing on that, like the breath, we can focus on the breath where we feel the breath the most, maybe the tip of the nose or someplace in the body, and bring our attention there. And our intention is to focus and concentrate on that spot. And what that does is bring us into the present moment. That present moment is really as close to our true nature as we can possibly get. And if we can come to that and expand those moments of presence, then we are really getting a good glimpse of who we are beyond the turmoil that we've had in the past, or the plans that we have for the future, or all these things. Not that they're not important or that we can't come back to those and we shouldn't be concerning those. It's just that in our meditation practice, we're setting the intention to leave all that alone. It's not serving a purpose in meditation. In this particular meditation, though, we're giving ourselves permission to go back 2 minutes to watch the thoughts. And everybody is going to have thoughts going on in a 2-minute period. No, I mean, I don't know of anybody in this room that will be able to shut them off, shut off the thoughts altogether. Maybe we can, if we get a chance, we'll talk about it and see how we did and everything. You might even notice that your thoughts slow down to a crawl, that there's maybe just a few thoughts in between that 2-minute period. You might even notice that one period of 2 minutes, hey, I only had a couple of thoughts. That was amazing. And then all of a sudden your mind's just, gee, I wonder if I could think like that all the time. Am I thinking now? I guess I am thinking, you know, on and on, off to the races. So the mind can play these games, and that's fine. That's our job is just to watch it. If we're consciously watching our thoughts and we are aware of them, then it's fine. It's the ones that are just in the background, that are just kind of non-stop mumbling and giving us, in many cases, inadequate information or information that we should probably be aware of. Okay? And again, make yourself comfortable, close the eyes. You can bring your attention to the breath, if you like. And behind the breath, there will still be thinking going on. And at each ring of the interval bell, you just want to review the thoughts that you had over the last 2 minutes. You bring your palms together in front of your heart if you like. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. And may we have the patience, courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or any difficulties that we might face in life. Thank you.